So, Matsumura walking style. If you paid attention to any of the recordings from our in-person event that we did in Missouri, I covered that, the same drills. This is a repeat of that. This is actually technically for one of the students that didn't get a good audio of the recording. So it'd be nice if they were here. But anyways, Matsumura walking style is a series of self-defense techniques that cover a broad spectrum of concepts within self-defense, striking weak points, power generation, throws, joint manipulation, and you'll probably find a lot more in there as we go through it. The basis of Matsumura walking style. So, yeah, you're welcome to sit. If everyone wants to spread out, we can kind of start off with the basics, just kind of understanding. Make sure, yeah, you can still see me in the camera. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off in natural stance, just like you're standing at the bus stop. And the primary movement is just a left foot forward step and a brush block with the right hand. So the opposite leg to the opposite arm. So this is the foundation of Matsumura walking, is this, brushing your hair. So if Ron is coming at me, you're not going to punch me, we're walking through a crowded hallway and he's not giving me space. So he's walking at me. That's it. That's the basis. So now I'm going to have Ron throw the punch. And I'm going to run. So pick a partner. Just real quick, get a partner. And we're going to work on that initial movement just to get used to that initial idea of just getting out of the way, creating distance, and moving. So all you're doing is they're throwing that punch, you're blocking with the hand, creating that barrier, and running. We will start with attacking and blocking. So let's move into the middle of the dojo here. Just so we have good views on that. So we're going to start here. The attacker is going to start off with their left foot forward, winding up their right fist. And they're going to just step in and punch. And the blocker, yep. So you're going to step with the other foot. It does still work with the right foot, but to make sense of the next consecutive levels of this technique. So you're standing neutral, and then you're stepping and going. And you can actually run. So throw the attack, step, and then just go. You're creating that room to just go, right? Pretty simple, right? So make sure you're stepping. Now, again, technically, if you step with the right, that's fine, because it still technically works. But if we make a habit of stepping with the left foot, it's going to open up the next few moves, because this layers. So the more complicated layers work with the footwork. So step with the left. So you're stepping with the opposite and going. Not yet. Not yet. We'll get there. So think of this, guys. Think of this as the pacifist way of getting out of a scenario. Someone goes to grab you, someone goes to punch you. This is just, oh, geez, I don't want to fight. Go, right? All right. Any questions? Everyone's done it. Now that I know to let everybody do it. So the next technique goes into a little bit of joint manipulation. So if Jen sets up that punch and I block, I'm not going to take off this time. I'm going to pivot on my feet. So how I like to pivot is I lift the heels and pivot on the balls of the feet, right? As I pivot, I'm going to funnel my hand down the arm, catching at the wrist, catching with the middle finger and the thumb. And then with that pivot, I'm going to impact into the arm. Simple arm bar. Be careful, because this is very jarring, so we'll turn a bit here. So she throws the punch. Boom. Simple. Catching and jarring into the arm. We can be gentle with this because we don't want to hurt our partner's elbows. We all have jobs or school or lives or kids or whatever it may be, or all the above. So instead of running, we're going to connect, pivot, draw into the arm, and connect. Yes, of course.
That the attacker's other arm free to just come and ram out through the clock.
Not necessarily.
Totally. I mean, the one arm they got there, but the other one's like,
So,
okay, what's it doing?
If we're going to answer that question, he's going to throw that punch. Try and punch me with the other hand.
He's got my arm coming.
But that's why he should be doing his pivot at the same time and getting underneath so his arm don't come and he should be blocking your jaw.
So
Right?
Here's where things get interesting with that. The what if game is a dangerous game to play.
Right, but if he knows, I mean, I'm the street smart. My thought, the me, would be that first that you did, all right, and then not engaging him. And I don't want him to be anywhere close to me. So as I'm running away, as I've kind of done my thing, I'm taking my elbow and I'm putting it square in his back as I'm running. And that way he's not facing me the same way I'm running. I'm just in my mind.
There's a broad spectrum of ways to work with this.
Right.
So the concepts that I'll be teaching in this, it's not just a self-defense scenario, it's also learning different aspects of martial arts.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm not martial arts, but I was like, that looks scary to me, touching somebody and getting them.
So my main point is you just got to be careful with the what if game, because the what if game doesn't end. Yeah. Yeah. It's great questions. Always question. I will never say no to questioning. But like I said, that what if game can go on and on and on. Mm-hmm. Yep. And that's why that initial move is great, right? Yeah. I'm going to just add this while we're practicing it. The next level here is the joint manipulation. So when Jen attacks, it's real simple, boom, and then you can apply the joint manipulation. So to break that down, it's not just an impact. Now, if you want to soften your target, you can do the impact, right? That's ideal. It's resistance reduction. So if they're being difficult and not, well, if your partner in the dojo is being difficult and not giving you room to work, resistance reduction. You can apply a little bit more pressure. If you want to be difficult, I can be difficult too, right? Obviously, we don't want to hurt our training partners, but if the training partner wants to be, mean about it, we can be mean too. On the streets, in true self-defense, same idea. You want that resistance reduction. You want to slam in, make them think about what they're doing, and then that allows you to do the joint manipulation. The joint manipulation here, so I'm going to bring my arm down. I'm going to catch the bone here onto the tricep, and I'm going to roll. And what I'm doing is I'm moving the tricep up and over, exposing a cluster of nerves, and I'm pressing. It's called white crane dives for pearls to the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah.
And when you're dropping, you don't want to do, how's your arm?
Great.
So you don't want to do this, because she can pull me. She can roll or pull me because I'm forward. So I want to use my rotation and step through. So you have two circles. You have the inner circle that you are pivoting on and the outer circle that they're pivoting on. It takes a lot more time. Think of how gears work. The bigger the gear, the slower the turn. A lot more time for that outer circle to catch up to the inner circle. That's what allows you to pivot and drop them to the ground. They can't keep up. Or else you would just be doing this. You could just dance, right? If you're just going to walk, and then I'm just going to pivot. Yep. So if you guys want to start applying, everyone was already doing it a bit anyways, but now think of that crane, dives for pearls, right? Impact, catch the tricep muscle, pull up and press in. Okay, give that a try. So keep doing what you're doing, just listen in. The nice thing about this this series of movements, it doesn't require muscle. If you're putting muscle into it, you're probably doing it wrong. I just realized I forgot a very important factor in this. So, we've got the impact, we've got the rolling, but I didn't point out what I'm doing with the wrist. So if we turn this way. Yep. So if you guys weren't already aware, which a lot of you are doing it naturally anyways, as I roll the upper arm, I'm drawing in with the rotation. This is, if you guys have any questions about what we're doing with chambers, that's all you're doing is chambering. So I'm drawing into a hikite. That's why the hikite ends with the palm up, because you're grabbing and rotating and causing the arm to expose itself, which allows you to put more pressure on that pressure point. So think about that hikite as well.
Moichiro, can you do that one more time, but
Yep.
facing the camera?
Good idea. Here, let's go over here. So he throws the punch. I'm blocking. I'm rotating in. Let's do a little rotation here. So I've caught the arm. I've impacted. I'm going to hikite as I roll the arm. So I'm putting pressure on the tricep and I'm drawing up as I rotate in. So these two movements happen at the same time. And then I rotate on the left foot and draw them into the ground with consistent pressure. This doesn't need muscle, as I had said earlier. If you're using muscle, you're doing it wrong.
I like that contact there.
So instead of just pressing, that works, right? Try and do that roll. So start low and roll up. There you go. And then yep. Good, good, good. Perfect. Well, I guess you already got it.
Yes and no.
Yes.
Does it matter? I guess I do have a question. So if you throw the strike, I get here, I get here.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Whoop. I lost my glass.
But I know it depends. It depends on where I want to go with it. So if I'm here, is that good or bad?
It's all good.
It's all good. That's the
Yeah.
question I wanted. I didn't know if it
That's-
mattered.
That's the nice
Here.
thing about the stuff I like to teach, is it's open to interpretation and flexibility.
Okay.
And if anything, I would want to add that to this. So that's very good.
It's to push pull.
Yeah, it's another layer, right?
Good.
Because part of why I'm doing is to teach layers of different aspects that you can apply to your martial arts. This is just a vehicle to do that. And so the push pull is another thing we can incorporate. So for those of you that are watching that here, consider that push pull that Sensei Paul was adding to this. Whether you step through with the other leg for disruption, or you're in the regular stance to push forward. Yeah. Again, these are things to play with. These are concepts to add your flair to. This is a foundational concept that you can draw more out of. The great thing about the Okinawan karate that I learned. Okay, how's everybody feel about that? Everyone's had a chance to try it? Okay, so we've done block and run. We've done block, impact. We've done block, impact, and joint manipulation. Now we're going to go into some brutal strikes. So now we're going to apply more of an aggressive perspective on this. So if Sensei Ron throws the punch, I'm going to draw. So just throw it right at me. You don't need to go off the course. Yeah, if he hits me, that's my fault. Boom, I'm going to come in, I'm going to hit. Instead of going through the whole joint manipulation, I'm going to switch my grip and then I'm going to pivot back the other way. I've already done one pivot with the hit. Now I'm going to grab and I'm going to pivot the opposite way, driving my elbow across his bicep, ripping through. Oh, look at that. So we're going to do a little twist here and this way. So he throws the punch, impact, grab, coming through, tearing. I'm all wound up. I'm a spring taut. And I'm going to come right back down. Look at his hand. I'm going to give him a really good high five right in the back of the neck. I'm going to cut through. So without him there, so think of that rotation. So you're learning hips and rotational power generation enhancements. So yeah, if you guys have seen this in kata, so he throws the punch. So we're going to turn just for the group now. Now that you guys have seen it, one, impact, grab. I'm switching grips. Also, if I need to, I can still control him. And I come through, and I'm going to imagine my elbow is a hook. I'm going to hook the meat of the arm. And then I'm going to come back through with that shuto, right to the back of the neck. Boom. And then really, you can just keep going. I can come back up, because now I'm wound this way. Come back up with an uppercut, if I have to. Or right straight up to the chin. Right? And that's how you can play with these motions. So, pretty simple, but brutal. Grab your partner, and don't cut each other's heads off. Okay, everybody happy with that? Everybody had a chance to try it? Everybody see how brutal that can be? Did anybody add a bit to it to kind of spice it up? I know Sensei Ron and Sensei Paul were spicing it up a little. It's not necessary. It's just a nice way, especially later on when we're no longer at the seminar. Take the time to review this stuff and see if you can add a little bit. That I want you guys to take what I teach and blow it up, and then come back and tell me so I can add it to the next seminar, so I can steal it from you. Okay, so we've done, just as a recap for Pedro, we've done, I'll just have Sensei Paul and Sensei Ron.
We have the same haircut, so it's easy.
Is that
We
the
look
case?
exactly
So
alike.
I'll just have you right there. So you guys have seen this, so this is for the camera. So he throws the punch. We start off with the brush block into running. That's step one. Step two, brush block, impact. Right? We're going to turn this way because we're going to start doing complicated stuff. He throws the punch, brush block, impact. Kikite, rolling the arm and pivoting into the ground. And he falls dramatically. He should be in a movie or something.
Trying.
So then he throws the punch, impact, switch the grip. I'm going to come through and use my elbow as a hook, impacting into the arm. That allows me to tighten that spring. So I've tightened the spring and I'm coming back down with a shuto to the back of the neck through. So when you see that in full pace, he throws the punch, cutting through. Just don't cut your opponent's head off, please. And then, as I was saying, you can take that and add on to it, because you're here, you're compressing the spring. You're loading the spring as you strike, and you're loading the spring as you strike. Every time you let go, the spring loads in the other direction, right? And then you can just keep adding to it and layering, layering, layering. And then eventually your opponent is just a pile of ground beef. 80-20 is better usually. Okay, so moving on to the fun edition. So has everybody seen Karate Kid? What? Homework. You got to watch Karate Kid. Okay. So everyone's seen Karate Kid except for him. Right? The silly Karate Kid kick. No can defend. It's not a kick. So Ron, not Paul, he throws the punch. I impact. Wait, nope, did it wrong. Started wrong. Okay, he throws a punch. Boom, coming through, around, hooking. Here's the white crane, and then the kick. I can either just kick straight up between his legs, or I can take out the leg completely and drop. So what happens is his head's here. If I kick out that leg, he's going to drop head first, which is going to do a lot of damage to his spine because all of my weight is falling with his weight. That's just the fun one. So again, he throws the punch, boom, boom, hooking around.
At this point, you're no can't defend part.
This is the no can't defend part. So here's your crane, right? And then I'm going to sweep the leg out and either fall forward or backwards or however you want to do that. That's just the fun part. And just you're hooking around, walking through, hooking around, hooking the arms, and then dropping them. So if you want to do that real quick, this is going to be a quick one just because it's not super practical in the sense of self-defense, but it's fun to be like, hey, this is the crane technique. So this is just more of like a extracurricular. So you want to do that real quick with your partner. And then maybe you can make it really.
Rear, you said dropping into his front too?
Ideally, I'm falling backwards with your head first. Your head is cushioning my fall.
Right. Okay, so you're driving head first.
Yeah.
You're just thinking backward.
So I would just basically trip the leg out and drop. Right?
Yeah, because you don't want to go.
At first,
No, I could go in the other direction.
Yeah,
he
but
can neck crank me back.
not
Or I could just come to here,
yeah.
right? Or I could throw in other ways, yeah.
Any arches
Mhm.
back.
Play with it. Again, I haven't fleshed out the crane technique because it's not as practical.
No.
We could make it practical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna end up on the ground and you're gonna end up on top. It's not a happy.
You and I were almost on the
but
same
it's
page.
better.
I was thinking, so dropping to your knees
Yeah.
and getting your head up.
Yep.
Yeah, same idea.
Yeah. So that's what I see as being.
I would think if I was in that prone position, I would turtle roll. So,
That's also a good way to do it.
yeah, that's what I think I
So-
need to get out.
That depends on where they're positioned. If my weight's forward when I'm doing this and you do a roll, it's gonna disrupt me. Do a back roll if anything. So if I've got Jen
Mhm.
and I'm forward, just sit back and I'm gonna fall right into it. So when you're doing this, yeah. So you want to make sure you're sitting. This is, okay, guys, just real quick. They made some really great points on how to disrupt this. You don't want to be disrupted doing the crane stance. Sink into your hips, sink into your cat stance. If you're leaning forward at all, as Jen demonstrated, so if I'm here and we're in a struggle and I'm here, she's just gonna fall back.
Yep.
Just like that. I have a very expensive set of things on my head.
But if you fell forward,
She's falling into me.
well,
That's ideal. You don't want to do that because I have control of your head. If you fall forward, I'm just going to let you fall. And you're going to go head first. I'm going to control that fall. Okay. Any other questions? Questions, comments, concerns, queries? Okay, so that was the fun one that we made. Oh, hi. Come on in. Okay. Yeah, no worries. So yeah, that was the fun one. The whole crane technique. Now we're going to move on to the other fun one, which is the throw. So if Nathan here comes forward, you'll be Noah next, don't worry.
All right.
So he throws the punch, and instead Instead of interacting with the arm, I'm going to step through, grab the chin, come to here, and drop gently. We're going to go over the footwork, a little bit of a dance that we're going to do. If in the dojo, I'm laying them in, and you'll see. So without the partner, 1, 2, 3, or same idea, 1, 2, 3, right into the knee. Bam. So again, another time for the camera. So he throws the punch, boom. Instead of interacting with the arm, I'm going to come in and grab the chin. Here, let's turn. So I block, I step. Here, let's come back a bit for the footwork. So I'm stepping through with my feet like this. We'll go over the footwork as a single unit. Stepping through, grabbing the chin, coming around. I'm bracing the back. I've got one hand on one shoulder and my elbow on the other shoulder. This is to prevent them from turning into me. If I start pulling and he starts resisting in either direction, I'm braced. And then I can just continue. Now they can wiggle out of it, I guess, but you're doing this quick enough that they're not going to take control of that. So one more time. He throws the punch, boom, coming through, and then he's past his balance point, and I'm going to drop him to the ground. Again, in the dojo, gently. Okay, so we're going to start with the footwork, just the simple footwork. So like we did earlier at the very beginning, just spread out so you have a little bit of room. We're going to start, step, the brush block. Now, stepping around behind your opponent. At this point, you're grabbing the chin. We're going to put the hand on the shoulder all the way around behind them. So now you have hand and elbow on the shoulders, and your other hand on their chin, or in their nostril, or in their eye socket, or grabbing their hair, or their chin hair, if Ron decided to grow it. And then we're going to step back into shikodachi and drop them. Because at that point, their balance is off. You're pulling them through past their balance points. I talked about that earlier. Your balance points consist from your ears to your hips, to your ankles. If 2 of those points are off kilter, you can knock them off balance. That's why some people can hold their balance like this, because you're lining up the ankles with the ears. But as soon as you pass those 2 points, if someone pushes me, I'm falling over. I have to readjust, but you don't let them readjust. So we can do this slowly with a partner now to kind of get a grasp of it, because it's a little more complicated. It's easier with a partner. So we'll do it all together. So grab your partner. I'll grab Noah here. I'll grab Miyagi here. Pinky. Yeah, I'll grab Pinky here. Narf. So we're going to do the block. You're going to step around and collect the chin. We're going to pivot all the way back and gather the shoulders. Switch your hands. Oh, no, don't switch your hands. So your hand will be on their right shoulder. Here, 1 second. So your hand's going to start here. This is going to be on the chin. There we go. And then as you do the full step through, your footwork's off a bit. So you want to be square with them.
You said the reverse split, right?
So here's how I step. 1, 2. That's going to come all the way behind them. Yep. And then you're going to square off with their hips, and you're going to be here, right? So you have one hand on their shoulder and one elbow on their shoulder. So it's basically to prevent them from turning, right? If you want to grab their shirt, if you have to, there's different ways to make that work. And then from there, so I'm just going to catch up to you guys. So we're behind. Start to pull. start to break their balance. They're leaning into your arms now, right? And as I step back, I'm just going to give them space to fall, but let them fall gently, not into your knee, preferably. Okay, there's the punch, block. I'm going to come through, gather the chin, or the nose, or the eye sockets, or the hair. I'm going to come around, square off with their hips, hand on right shoulder, elbow on left shoulder. This is bracing them from turning. I start to break their balance. I step back into shikodachi and I let them fall. And if I wanted to be mean, I let them fall into my knee. Don't do that. Not here, at least. Okay, everyone have something to work off of, to build off of. Try it and just shout if you have questions. Nice things before that. I guess don't pause if you're in the middle of throwing them. Finish your throw. That's smart. So I talked earlier about how the footwork's important, but it's still adjustable. All this is adjustable. Obviously, I have a base curriculum I'm working off of, and we want to use that just to get an understanding of what we're doing so we're all on the same page. But I've seen the footwork change, and the end goal still happen. So if you want to, step with the other foot. See, and this is what I meant by doing the right footwork. Because if you step with the wrong foot, if he punches and I step this way, well, I have to do a really big pivot to get around, right? So that footwork is important because I'm set up here. I'm already forward. And then this allows me to do that step. If I'm stepping here, I'm back a little bit. I have to really get around. It still works. It's just something to consider, right? Yep. But you can adjust that, right? If you want to, you can just get right into a choke if you have to. Or just start dragging them away into the dark alley. Maybe not.
Or if you're working security.
Step back and
Yeah, that's similar to this. Just step back and go, really. I like getting into that rear naked choke, right? Or not rear naked choke, but just jump and just butt slam right into him. I don't know. Everybody's got their own ideas. Anyways, so that's anything I teach. I'm going to be very open with the idea of making it your own and being flexible on how you do it. That's how I learned Shorin-ryu, was to be open and flexible. And as long as it follows the idea, the structure of what you're learning, the foundation, it still works. Doesn't need to be rigid to what you're doing. Now, obviously learn it as a structure because you need a foundation to build off of. Same thing with any of your karate. Learn your foundation, learn your curriculum that your sensei is teaching you, and build upon that. That's what's so great about karate. It's growth. So yeah, we haven't done a whole lot of that. So keep going. We're right just, well, I guess we started late. So we're at about 50 minutes right now. So really good on time. Any questions before we get back into that? You're going to step through with that foot behind, grab the chin. Yep. Yep. And then you're going to step back in a shikodachi and gentle. Good job. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
It seems like you had it then, I guess.
Yeah.
Good job. Any questions?
No.
Cool. Okay. Tries and then we'll wrap up. Oh, this is why we work on awareness training.
Yeah, get in the head like that. Good.
Because either of these guys running into you probably hurt a bit. Okay. Okay. Yeah, good. So, little added detail there that you're missing. You can do the pressure, so throw the punch. So you can just pressure in if you want. But if you really want to add a little spice to it, do that rolling technique, right? So I can just drive with the pressure, and it'll work, but sometimes it won't.
Yeah.
And especially buff, muscly guys, you're gonna roll through, expose that nerve right in there. You feel that?
Yeah.
Doesn't feel good? And then I'm gonna rotate and drive down. I'm not putting any strength in at all. Just a little bit of weight. I'm just putting a little bit of weight in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. My partner throws, I'm gonna drop the camera a bit just so you can see the footwork. So, this way a bit. So the initial technique is just a simple block and run. So we're gonna turn, just so they can see it. You're gonna punch, I'm gonna block the brush block with the forward step you're stepping with the left, blocking with the right, and giving yourself space to go. That's the simple basis of this. From there, more advanced, he punches, and I'm gonna turn and impact here. Let's turn around just so they see this technique. So I block, I turn, I impact, right? That's the second step. Same idea. Third step, turn, impact, and I'm going to draw in the chamber as I roll. So I'm targeting the tricep, and I'm catching it with this bone here. And then I'm pressing into the exposed nerves below the muscle, and then just rotating as I drive into the ground, okay? So simple joint manipulation into a bit of a, I don't know if you'd want to call that a throw. So then following from there, so make sure you step. Impact, so this is step 4. I'm gonna switch my grip. I'm gonna keep that contact, keep my chimi, switch my grip. So now I have this control, allowing me to open up. I'm gonna pivot back, a lot of pivots in this. Pivot back with the elbow up through the arm. You don't have to block it, don't worry. Up through the arm. So I'm drawing that hook. I'm imagining this is a hook. Impact through the arm. Now I've wound that spring, and I'm gonna come back down. I'm not gonna hurt you, don't worry. I'm gonna come back down with the shuto through. So without the partner, 1 impact, grab, cut through, and then shuto back. And then you can actually, now you've wound the other way. You can come back with an uppercut if you want to. You can play with that. You can apply more and more movements to that. So then we go to the white crane pose, which is more of just a fun part of this. I'm gonna hook around, grab, and now we're in the white crane pose. From here, I can go into a jaw crank, or I can kick out the leg and throw them forward, or I can just simply fall back, having them land head first. Then the last one is the throw. 1, and I'm stepping around, putting my foot facing towards you guys as I gather the chin. I'm stepping back, squaring off with their hips. One hand on, my hand is on their right shoulder, my elbow is on their left shoulder. And this is when I start to apply pressure, breaking their balance. I'm gonna step back into shikadachi and let them drop. Now in a self-defense scenario, I'm gonna let them drop hard, or I'm gonna let them drop into the knee if I want to. Obviously, when you're practicing with a partner, you don't want to kill them. Yeah, we're gonna wrap up in a second. No, I like off the rails. As long as you're staying on topic, off the rails is great. That's exploration. Explore these techniques. But I want you guys to do that. This isn't set in stone. What I teach you is technically set in stone, but you're meant to grow off of it. All right. So first off, I love that you guys have dived into it and explored different movements. Did everybody have fun?
Oh, yeah.
Except for Jen. She doesn't deserve it. Any questions just before we wrap up? Comments, concerns, quandaries, queries, conundrums? What other words for questions? No. Wow. Cool. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. And thank you everybody online as well for those that were able to get in when they could. And again, I apologize. Apparently the time that was posted was off, which is why some people were late. But again, I've tried to cover it in a little bit of detail. And again, as I'm repeating myself, but everything here is recorded and will be sent to you for those that attended and that paid. If you paid and you didn't show up, you'll still be sent the recording. So thank you guys for being here on the recording. Thank you guys for being here in person. You've made this wonderful. This is a new experience for me teaching seminars, and it was a blast. And I'm glad everybody had fun and learned something. Please take this with you and expand on it. And then let me see it so I can steal it. All right. See it? Right. ありがとうございます。